Hello and welcome to Roadrunner Predictions. Today we're heading into Week 12 college football. I have a lot of games picked out here. I'm going to pick the games I like, and then from there I'm going to go into the top 25 ESPN and roll through each prediction of that. So I'll try to make this pretty quick. I won't go into all the details. If you ever want me to find more dirt on a team or a matchup you're looking at, I can get some crazy stats for you. If that's something you're ever interested. So just comment below if the game's coming up, if you want me to work on them. Okay, I'm going to go right into it. I have Middle Tennessee versus Rice. I'm taking Rice plus 14.5. The line opened up at Rice plus 13.5, so you're gaining 1 point value there. Troy versus Texas State. I'm taking Texas State. They're getting plus 7. That line moved, though. It was at 8.5, so we're going to pivot on that one. We're just going to take Texas State plus 7. Cincinnati versus UCF. We're taking UCF plus 14. Hawaii versus UNLV. We're taking UNLV at plus 7. That game's kind of tricky because Hawaii's definitely the better team, but the road difference, I just like taking them on the road whenever Hawaii has to travel like that, especially in closer spreads. So we're taking UNLV plus 7. BYU versus Idaho State. Idaho State is horrendous, I know, and we're just going with the massive plus 32.5 points. If you can find a line on that. Army versus VMI, another game you might not be able to find a line on. You might have to go bookie to bookie or even to casino to get these lines. VMI is getting plus 34.5. We're taking that. They're actually a really good, crappy team. Good enough to hang in. So we're just taking point value with that. Louisville versus North Carolina State. We're taking NC State at plus 4. It opened at 3.5. LSU versus Mississippi. Mississippi is now getting 21.5. I have a 21 open. I like it. Taking Mississippi, especially because LSU just had the phenomenal game of the year. They're a little extended. The whole nation got to see LSU just beat down on Alabama, and it was freaking sweet. I included, enjoyed it very, very much. So we're just taking the Mississippi State plus 21.5. I'm sorry, it's Ole Miss. I'm sorry, guys. It's yeah. Let me check that. No, it's the Bulldogs because they played where are you at? Because they played at yeah, it's Ole Miss. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so Ole Miss. My bad. So we're taking LSU for Ole Miss just because of, like I said, LSU being extended. And it's a night game too. I like the extensions at night. Kentucky versus Vanderbilt. We're taking Vandy plus 10. It was 10.5. Losing half a point value there. Not too big of a problem. So those are the games I actually like and I'm taking. Oh, and I also like Northwestern 41.5 versus UMass. UMass is horrendous. I don't want to. I mean, they're so bad. They're getting blown out to their tier teams by like 50, 40 points. And you're facing a Northwestern team. I think they're Northwestern stout enough to just, okay, guys, let's have fun on this bye week versus UMass. Watch UMass beat them straight up. I just laugh. All right, I'm going to go into a top 25 on ESPN through every game real quick, and more for documentation on me to see how I did with a lot of my theories don't play into some of these games. I'm just going off of analysis and watching footage and watching the games as they played out throughout the season. So Alabama versus Mississippi, Ole Miss. I put Mississippi State on my paper again. I don't know why. No, Alabama versus Mississippi State. I'm all over the place here. I like the over at 60.5. Then I have KU versus Oklahoma State. We're actually taking Oklahoma State 17.5, even though KU has only been able to keep up with teams with the pass, like on the shootouts. But we're getting to the point where I think KU's steam is, the guys have been beaten down, the hype's a little extended, and they're like, oh man, we really did believe in you, Les Miles, and right now we're kind of letting you down a bit on the end, but we had a good start, and they did. Kansas is way better, like immensely better, even on defense, and they still suck at defense, so that tells you something there. Then we have Florida versus, Oklahoma State, 17.5 favorite we'd like. Florida versus Missouri. We have Missouri plus 6.5. I haven't been big on the Gators this year, and I know Missouri is not an amazing team, but Missouri's had a very disappointing season, and they were really hoping to. They've had hypes on their quarterback for year after year, and they keep getting disappointed. And they're like, we're a good team though, and I think they're kind of in the same boat as Nebraska. They left the Big 12 thinking like, we're doing pretty good, we're still relevant, and then you get into the Big 10 and then the SEC, and all of a sudden the lines are a lot different. Like the front lines, it's harder to move the ball. Like the secondaries are just laying you out when you're trying to get a catch. They're just punishing you. So it's like, well, this is just different football, and I think Missouri is falling to that. I know when Missouri first went over, they did really well in the SEC, like the first year or two, but it's starting to balance itself out. So I think Missouri's actually going to be able to make a better stance at home, and I'm taking them plus 6.5. Why does this keep moving on me? All right, let's go ahead and get into Indiana versus Penn State. I don't know what to do. I'm taking Indiana plus 14.5. Indiana's actually a pretty good team, and trust me, I want Indiana to actually lose this game, but that's a personal reason why. The coach was kind of a crybaby when he went to Nebraska. He said that Nebraska treated him unfair. And he's like, hey, no, they underestimated us because they want to play teams. Scott Frost said, we need more teams like Indiana on our schedule. And because in the next years, we're playing the winning programs in the Big Ten like by 75%. So we're just playing like the heavy hitters across the other division, and we just need time to build up and recruit and get some W's instead of just getting bashed 40-7 every game. So Indiana took that personal, and they had it Nebraska circled for vengeance. And when they won, they just let it out. You should always talk shit before you lose. That's how I look at it. At least you're honorable in your shit talking, opposed to you wait till you win and then you're like, Michigan State versus Michigan, guys. This game's always so close. It doesn't. You don't even take the records. Whenever you get this matchup, just take the records and throw it out the window. Take the stats, throw it out the window. Just take any points on it. We got Michigan's favored by 13. We're taking Michigan State plus 13. It's always so close. It's just so ridiculous. I've seen some of the craziest things in games happen in this matchup than the most, and I love it. Do you guys remember when Michigan was up by like 3 points or whatever, and they went to just go punt the ball with like a minute something left, and then Michigan State ends up blocking the kick and then taking it back for a touch. I think there's like 54 seconds or something left actually, and then it's like, wow, Michigan State just beat Michigan off of a botched punt. Oh, it's hilarious. I love it. Then let's go into Nebraska versus Wisconsin. We're taking Nebraska 14.5. Why? Because it makes no sense. Nebraska sucks balls, but I think they can hang in with Wisconsin. I think Paul Chris is actually scared of Scott Frost. I think a new era, a new time. So we're taking Nebraska plus 14.5. Navy versus Notre Dame. Well, both pretty good teams. We're taking the under at 55. I think this is going to be your typical matchup between these two teams. They're just going to try to establish any kind of edge they can get and run with it. Notre Dame is still a really good team. That's 7-2. When I say really good, I mean they can compete with most top tier programs today. They can actually stay in with your Georgia and your Auburn, your Oklahoma, maybe not Alabama so much, but yeah, they can hang in there just well enough. So I like the under in this game at 55. Now let's go to Georgia versus Alabama. I mean, sorry, yeah, I guess it is Alabama, but we're gonna say Auburn. Georgia Bulldogs versus Auburn. We're taking Auburn plus 3. Georgia's favored 3. The reason is Georgia has to be creative in their offense to get past this Auburn defense. I know Georgia is kind of on this matchup. I think that like the last 6 games, Auburn's only taken them down once. But this Auburn defense is disgustingly good. And I don't think Georgia's creative enough on offense to make things happen. And that's why we're taking the Burns at +3. Let's go Texas versus Iowa State. Let's go ahead and get into this crap matchup. We have, guys, I've been down on Texas all year. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't convinced at the start of the year. Like, no, Texas is pretty good. They are better. They for sure are better. And then beating the K-State team last week kind of also is a confirmation of that. But I'm telling you what, just because Iowa State played Oklahoma tough, I'm not buying this week. I'm taking Texas +7. Like, is this a trap game? If this could be the trap game, that's what I'm thinking. Because it's like, why is this? Okay, why? Okay, I could get maybe why Iowa State's favored, maybe, but by 7, that's all touchdown. I mean, am I wrong here, guys, or what's your thought on that? Something just seems off to me on that. So I have Texas +7. And then let's go into. I guess the majority of people on ESPN think Iowa State's going to win, so maybe there's something to it. Next matchup, I have West Virginia versus K-State. I've been on K-State for a lot of the year. They were actually going to be my biggest play. I want to go ahead and put over $300 something on K-State when they played Mississippi State. They were getting a touchdown, and I was like, oh, they're the better team by a touchdown, and that was the case. The one time I was right this year. Now K-State is a phenomenal. They're just stout, and they have just enough defense. I think they're second or third in Big 12 for defense, and they have an offense that can move the ball, and they're playing with heart. Like, they're playing to win each game, and I like that. I especially like that when you're a sports bettor, you want your teams to be consistent. You may not win every game with them, that's fine, but if you play them in the consistency, you'll win overall. But this week we're taking West Virginia +13.5. Now let's go to Ohio State Rutgers. I don't know if you can click on that game. There's no point. I think Ohio State's favored, 106. So we're going to go ahead and take Ohio State. Now they're favored by 52. I mean, the over-under is at 61. What's the cutoff here for it? They're still got up. Ohio State's going to run up the score. They have to because they're 2 on the rankings. 2 in the rankings because LSU took a number 1 after that dominant performance last week. So there you go. You have. We're going to take Ohio State for -106, but in reality, -52. Wake Forest versus Clemson. This game's actually a little more tricky than people might be. But I got some spam thing. I just downloaded some program. Now it's spamming on my computer. Noise filter for these videos, suggested by a friend. Thanks, Brad. We're taking Wake Forest +34.5. That's just weird to me. Like, I know Clemson's good, but the Demon Deacons +34.5. Are you serious? Is this real life? That's above 500 team in conference. They're 7-2. They're at least playing teams tough. So just taking the consistency of them. I know they're facing a number 3 Clemson team that plays one good team a year. Awesome. No, thank you. Memphis hosting Houston. Where do you want to go? What angle do you want for this game? Most people are thinking Memphis is going to win here. They're 8-1. They're playing a 3-6 Cougar team who are 1-4. And guys, this Houston team laid down. I already went over the details on that in a prior video. I don't know if you know this or not, but basically the Houston head coach decided to sit out red shirt rule their starting quarterback and their star receiver for next year to come out super strong next year. So they're literally tanking this year to build up for next year. And some other seniors as well took the red shirt for Houston. So NCAA got a little upset with how they were using it, but I mean, it's their call, and hopefully it works out for them because it's a ballsy move to almost literally tank a season and come back to have a heavy-hitting team next year. So look for an advantage with Houston Cougars early on next season. I already have it marked on my long-term sheet of for sports gambling. I'm like, okay, Houston, they're 1-4 in conference. They're 3-6 overall. They should be pretty sweet next year. But we're going to go ahead and take Houston and the points here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're taking the under. It's at 71. I think Houston's going to be able to slow them down just enough, and I'm probably completely wrong, so don't even take that. No, I'm just going over the top 25 picks, guys. I'm not even going to be betting any of these top 25 games. The games I listed you first are the games I'm taking for the day, and I'm taking Northwestern minus 41.5 over a crappy UMass team. But for fun of just going through the top 25 games, I'm just doing this, and we like the under at 71. Minnesota versus Iowa. This game is very interesting to me. Um, Iowa's favored 3. Minnesota is 9-0. No, I'm convinced. I'm sorry. You beat Penn State. And, guys, they didn't beat Penn State like, oh, man, they just threw it over the top and you caught over the last play. They beat Penn State. Like, beat them. And, guys, Penn State was... I thought Penn State could even make the Final Four there right before that game. I was just convinced. I'm like, man, Penn State is so good at defense and they're so good at offense. I'm like, they're probably the best contender to Ohio State. And then Minnesota Gophers, the golden stupid Gophers, go in there and deliver hits and lockdowns. And I'm not stepping in front of Minnesota anymore. I'm sorry. I'm taking Minnesota +3. Is this a trap? I don't know. I know Iowa is super tough, especially later in the season at home. Iowa can bring any team down. I mean, the under. What's the over-under in this game? That's probably even the real play. You take the under at 44.5 just because Iowa can do that. The noose to teams. But they held Wisconsin at 24-22. No, I'm not buying it. I'm taking Gophers. I've been wrong on Minnesota every single time, so hey, might be wrong on this game too. I'm just saying what it is. Let's go into the other top 25 matchup I got. I have LSU versus Mississippi State. We already went over that game. We're taking Mississippi at plus. I'm sorry, Ole Miss plus 21.5. And then we have Oklahoma versus Baylor. We are taking the over at 68.5 because I think the total combined points between the two teams it should be at 63 with for points per game and points against. So we know how these two teams operate, and I like the over on it because one touchdown puts us on it, and I think that's about exactly what's going to happen. Appalachian State here is ranked 25th, deservingly so. Georgia State Panthers, they're really good at running the ball, and they're also really good at holding the noose. So we're actually going to go ahead and take the Georgia State plus 17. And I think that's about it from the video here. Thanks for watching. Oh, no, I have Boise State and you and New Mexico. I'm going to take Boise State. I didn't even see this last matchup here. I'm sorry, guys. Boise State, 8-1 versus New Mexico, 28 points. I got points per game, 23.4 to 35 for Boise State. Points allowed, 35. And, I actually do like this matchup. So they both cross-pattern each other's numbers here. So you can take the difference on this. Look how close that is. 23 to points against, 22 for Boise State. And points allowed for the Lobos is 35. And that's exactly what Boise State scores, is 35. So we're just going to go ahead and take that full score there. And we're actually going to go with the Lobos plus 28. That would be the advantage there. So I know it's hard to take, but like I said in previous videos, the harder the game to take, the better it is to go with it. Guys, Oregon is playing for something for real now. This Oregon versus Arizona game. The reason is Alabama's going to try sneaking into contention into the Final Four tournament. Oregon has to win the Pac-12, and if Oregon can clean out and win in dominant fashion, they might get the override over Alabama, and that also depends on how Auburn finishes out the rest of the season. So, guys, let's root for the Ducks. Let's not have another LSU beats Alabama year to where Alabama still gets in over LSU. It's so stupid. And then they end up winning the national championship for no reason because they have a rematch with LSU. And the LSU had nothing to play for anymore. They already beat them. They already gave them all they had. And then a couple weeks later, they have to play them again, and they end up losing. It's like, yeah, well, That's just how this is set up. It's bullshit. Oh, 27.5. Oh, man, we got to take Arizona 27.5. Yikes. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and end on that note. Thanks for watching. You want me to break down a video? I'll go stats deep, guys. So you'll see me back again tomorrow for some NFL. Thanks for watching.